It's time for some straight talk. The big wireless companies charge a boatload for their superior network coverage. But guess what? Straight Talk uses the same cell towers, but you pay half the cost. Who knew? Well, now you do. And I do. So let's do something. It's time to switch to Straight Talk. Unlimited plans start at just $45 a month on America's largest, most dependable networks. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart.
Savings may vary. Please refer always to the latest terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
The sound is down on the televisions in here, so I can't explain what I just saw on my television. The way I would explain it, though, is there was an ass right in the middle of Sports Center and also Jay Cutler's butt. Stugotz, why was Jay Cutler's butt on Sports Center? What did they just ask you about Jay Cutler's butt?
You didn't see these pictures yesterday?
No.
Jay Cutler is at a resort, and is it his wife, Mike? His wife took some naked photos of Jay Cutler. He looks surprisingly good. And they were asking me who did it better, Jay Cutler or Mike Golick, because Mike Golick has also taken nude pictures as a result of losing a bet on Mike and Mike. And I said Cutler. It was natural. Golick's all oiled up and stuff, and Cutler looked surprisingly good. I got to be honest with you, man.
Is it surprising? Is it surprising? Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Is it surprising that Jay Cutler looks good naked from the back? Because I'm guessing if that turns around, so too does your opinion.
I'm guessing you're right on that, yes. But the backside was pretty impressive. Like, there were muscles in places I didn't think he had muscles, and...
Well, I didn't see I still haven't seen that, because they had my spinning face dressed as Princess Leia spinning on... So I don't know of any muscles. I just saw a nude Jay Cutler. We'll get to the Heat in a second.
It's only impressive because I think all of our expectations were that he had an ugly butt. A flabby butt. He doesn't look like the most fit guy, just judging off of his face, what we've seen.
Come on, man. He's a professional athlete.
I know, but he resembles Fat Elvis.
Yes, I imagine him. I thought, until I saw these pictures, I imagined him to be a bit frumpy. Yeah? Frumpy.
Jay Cutler's like 6'4".
I imagine him to be a bit frumpy. I mean, he doesn't fill out the uniform that well. I was shocked by what I saw.
Guillermo, put on the poll. Can you be 6'4" and frumpy?
He does kind of have love handles in that photo.
We are being nitpicky. We are being very nitpicky.
Can you be 6'4" and frumpy? I think a frumpy is people under 6 feet. Anyway, the Heat win a game last night that would be the biggest and best victory of the season if they hadn't also beaten Golden State this year. But I was trying to remember off the top of my head, is the last time you do not win NBA games when you're down 5 with 30 seconds left. You certainly don't win them in regulation. I was doing this off the top of my head. I have no idea. Is the last time that happened for the Heat the Ray Allen shot?
No, Bill/Henry Walker hit like a couple threes at Orlando. It was a crazy comeback. I think they were down 9 with a minute left.
No, but 5 with 30 seconds left. The reason I was doing it, I'm not being well actually guy on that. That's close, and I might be wrong here. I might be remembering wrong. But 5 with 30 seconds left is different because you usually have to just start fouling because
Correct.
Even if you make a shot, you got to make it within 6 seconds. Or you just have to get to the part of the game where you start fouling on purpose.
They were headed down that path where there was a great play. It was a double team by, I think, Dragic and James Johnson, where they created a jump ball, and then he got the ball back.
Do you feel bad at all for Stan?
Oh, of course, yeah. But, I mean, I like Stan. I mean, yeah, I feel bad for Stan, yes. Do you?
Oh, terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible, because it looks like he's on his way to getting fired. And that was a gut punch. The Pistons have been playing awful. They lost by 1 million to Orlando. They lost by double digits to New York. They lost by a bunch to Chicago.
In that Walker crazy comeback game in Orlando, they were down 5 with 23 seconds left. Walker hit a 3 to pull them within 2, and then I think there was a made free throw, and then with 2.1 seconds left, Walker sent the game into overtime, and they won that game in overtime.
Good call. Doesn't happen very often, and it was a monster game for the Heat to get because they really needed it. And I was having a conversation over the last couple of days with some Heat people because I don't know what they're going to do with waiters. And it feels a lot like the conversations we were having about Whiteside.
Right.
Where Whiteside, it was all don't marry the stripper, you don't marry the stripper, you don't give money to that kind of player. And then the options dried up and you had to give money to them. So if they give waiters money and they build around waiters and Whiteside, that doesn't sound good, that doesn't feel good, but they might not have better choices. Like that, it's not what they'd prefer to do, but it might be what they get stuck doing. And here's the danger in that. That's the team you beat last night. They gave the money to Reggie Jackson and Drummond.
Yep.
They got into the playoffs as an 8 seed. Mm-hmm. They looked like they were on the come up, and they're not.
No, they're not. So what do you do? It's interesting.
Because we can agree that Whiteside and Waiters is kind of Reggie Jackson and Drummond. Like, we can agree that those two things are roughly equal. Roughly. I mean, you can argue and you can parse if you want, but if I tell you, here are two players on one side, Drummond and Reggie Jackson, here are two players on the other side, sure. Dion Waiters and Hassan Whiteside, and I ask the league to pick, it's going to be push. And that's where the Pistons were, and they had to give money to Reggie Jackson. Now, they had a different situation because it's real hard to get free agents to come to Detroit.
Yeah, that's the main difference. Also, I don't think it's a push if you believe Waiters to be what he's been since January. But at the time, that's a huge question that nobody knows the answer to.
Oh, but Mike, Reggie Jackson has been good. Reggie Jackson.
Not this season.
Not this season. No, but when he got his money, no.
I'm sure Stan wants to kill Reggie Jackson.
No,
that's
and Drummond.
Hyperbole.
But to Dan's point, I think Reggie Jackson came to Stan with some upside, right? And that's what. And Reggie Jackson got his money, and he's no longer very good.
Reggie Jackson was Dion Waiters when it was time to get a contract. I'm telling you, I can't come up with a situation that feels more apples to apples than this one.
Right.
Because Detroit was in this position and they had to give the money to Drummond and Reggie Jackson.
Can't they sign Waiters and someone else? They can't do that? They can't fit that?
Yeah, the someone else has to be James Johnson. I mean, it's funny. We entered this season saying it was all about finding out what you had in Josh Richardson and Justice Winslow, and it may be unfair to judge Justice Winslow merely based off his absence, but I think we kind of figured out that Josh Richardson and Justice Winslow, you kind of hope they turn into James Johnson and Dion Waiters. They're not as good as those guys.
Well, now everybody wants Josh Richardson off the court.
Yeah.
So a handful of things from last night, though, that were positive before we go blueprint hunting again. It's such a tribute to this organization and this coach that they've got Whiteside playing this specific way, where Spo was saying after the game, this is the first time that I have seen Hassan Whiteside playing for others more than he's playing for himself.
Very cool.
To reach that guy that Shane Battier said in their championship years when he was training with them, why is this guy here, yelling at Hassan Whiteside because during sprints he's laying on the floor and Battier's like, man, look at all these people who've won championships here. They're not trying to make it on the fringes of the league. They're not laying on the floor because of how out of shape they are. To go from that to getting this guy to buy in, and now all the stuff he does is just goofy. It's not dangerous. Yeah. It's just, staring at his left hand. He's probably still staring at his left hand this morning.
Very funny, man.
Guys, what's insane is he reached him after the destination contract. When do you ever see that?
Yep.
Right.
Well, I don't know. Let's pause for a second. Just because he made a buzzer beater, I think the first of his life, doesn't mean that they've reached him with permanence.
He's been really good, Dan.
But yes, he's been playing. There's no questioning that he's been playing the way they want him to play. Which is, and to have that rewarded. See, that's the way you reach guys. Reaching guys isn't telling them something and them having them believe it half-assed and sort of bailing the moment that it fails.
Right.
Reaching someone is when you play that way and then you get the result that you get last night where you're helping your teammates all game, doing all that stuff that he's supposed to do. At the end of the game, they're physically carrying you around because you've won the game at the end, doing, winning that mosh pit with machetes that was the end of that game last night. Like, what was that?
Magruder killed a guy.
Yes, Rodney Magruder threw a trident.
It was crazy that Dragic got a shot up there, right?
I mean, he had his head severed on the play. Somebody came in and it was the movie 300. It was the guy's son in 300. Somebody came in on a horse, just chopped his head off. I love that the refs let him play like that, though. Magruder came running. He could be pulling guard for the Miami Dolphins. Magruder came running into the reason that was such a mess with a guy on the floor is because Magruder killed a man. In the middle of that, Magruder just came running in with a shiv, a prison shiv. Is that redundant? Here, I'm going to put it on the poll. Is prison shiv redundant?
Yeah, is there any other kind?
He came in with a shiv, and then there was that piston writhing around, and the prison guards came on the court and tried to clean up the blood. There were some guys with mops and a janitorial crew, and everybody was trying to shoot over them, and then someone beheaded Dragic, and then the only functioning body part at the end was the left hand of Hassan Whiteside.
Over Andre Drummond, by the way.
Yes.
Oh.
Yep.
Stan must be so frustrated with him.
Frustrated.
I mean, because Andre Drummond needs to just grab that ball.
It's his only job.
He needs to grab the ball.
He does, but I think Stan was a little too busy screaming at Stanley Johnson.
Yeah. Well, Stan shouldn't have him in the game. It's kind of on Stan, no?
I guess the difference between Spo and Stan is that he took out Josh Richardson, and Stan kept riding Stanley Johnson.
I mean, the choices for Stan aren't very good, and he should be so mad at his team president. I felt so bad for Stan, though. It's such a weird feeling, right? Because first of all, I love this Heat team. I love this city. I love the people who run this Heat team.
Yeah.
And I also love Stan.
Of course.
And everybody needs it. And when I say my mother, I don't think there's anything in life that makes my mother happier these days than going to Heat games. Like I've noticed that the parking people at the Heat game have gained weight because she brings like stuff for them to eat every game, and they're all fat now because she's been doing it for 2 seasons. And so I want her to have fun at these Heat games and to enjoy herself for as long as is possible.
That's interesting, though, because with Stan, we love him, you love him, you have a great relationship with him. There's a job on the line there. There were no jobs on the line last night for the Heat. I guess they needed the game to make the playoffs, but no one's losing their job. Stan might actually lose his job.
He might.
That's interesting for you. Like, I'm wondering how
he needed it more than the Heat did, but he also knows that his team has no real chance. The Heat actually have a chance. The Pistons don't have any chance.
What's more likely, though? The owner firing Stan because that's the only person in that organization to fire who has the power to fire him, or Stan just giving up?
No, he's not going to give up. But if I know Stan, what Stan is probably doing right now is saying I should be fired. I should be fired because he's very hard on himself. Texture writes in, isn't Stan Van Gundy also the president of the Pistons?
You don't get the show.
What do you think, though, like selfishly, if that happens to Stan? Do we get him back on Wednesdays?
Well, I question your sincerity when you said a moment ago that you felt bad for Stan last night, because you've been saying for 2 years, I hope he gets fired so he comes back here and spends Wednesdays with us.
Yeah.
Like you've been saying that. I believe you've been texting that to him. Have you not?
Perhaps. A couple of times. A week.
You don't feel bad for him.
Well, I mean, listen, he gets paid the full amount regardless of what happens here, right?
No, but...
I mean, he had 2 years. 2? Is it 2 years now?
Third year.
3 years. I had 3 years to make it work, man. No, I don't feel badly for him at all.
Don Batard.
Stugotz doing, hard preparation for the show, has just been blurting to everyone who will listen. Do you guys realize that we're not making Franks anymore? And do you realize there are a shortage of famous Franks in the country?
Yeah.
Stugotz.
I obviously brought it up with the guys, and we were having a very interesting conversation.
It wasn't interesting.
Well, we thought it was. The obvious is Frank Sinatra. He's the most famous Frank of them all. Mm-hmm. After that, good luck. Good luck. So I'm telling you, kids, if you're named Frank out there, there's a good chance you're not going to amount to anything.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on the ticket.
I am predicting a perfect game today for Roy. He got shelled yesterday.
Yeah.
But I predict a perfect game for Roy today. There's not going to be a reading mistake made because any of the copy is off.
I might get sabotaged by this guy over here named Stugotz.
But it'll be his fault.
Yes, reading mistakes will be made. I promise you.
There are probably going to be reading mistakes made, but not because any of the copy is bad. I believe in Roy today. So Stugotz goes into the other room last segment, and Guillermo, because he's a roller coaster seesaw, not Guillermo, but Stugotz. He can be taken to either side based on the last conversation he had, no matter how short it was, no matter who it was with. And so Guillermo told Stugotz that Stan Van Gundy is getting paid guaranteed $35 million for 5 years, and if he gets fired this year, he gets the money anyway, so he'd be getting it for 3 years. And so Stugotz comes back in here and, says, cry me a river.
Yeah. I mean, he gets 35, only has to work 3 out of the 5 years. We get him back on Wednesdays on this show. We love him and we miss him. And yes, cry me a river. $35 million. Boo-hoo. And you get out of Detroit. How about that?
So what I wanted to ask you guys back there, this is a genuine question, and you guys know how much Stugotz likes money. If I tell him $35 million taxed, which ends up becoming 2/3 of that. So 2/3 of $35 million I give to Stugotz today in suitcases of cash. But I tell him you're going to be fired in disgrace and can't work anymore doing the thing you love because you don't want to be an update guy, right? Stan doesn't want to go be an assistant coach. My guess is Stan's probably not going to get another opportunity that looks like this one. Do you think Stugotz takes it? If he can't work in radio anymore, if he can't hot take, if he can't have a microphone. Now, the analogy doesn't work perfectly because he'd build his own podcast and he'd do something with the money. But let's say he couldn't do it.
No, make it that. Make it, if you accept this money, $35 million, there is no podcast. There's nothing. You have to find a different line of work.
Right. You have failed at your job. You failed with your big opportunity.
Right.
And it ends in disgrace. It ends with you as a public failure because you couldn't do anything with the Pistons when they gave you the power to the entire franchise. Do you guys think Stugotz takes that? Because that's Stugotz who really cares about money. Stan doesn't actually care that much about money. Stugotz really cares about money, and I think it's actually a hypothetical that would make Stugotz pause.
What do you guys think?
Is this platform essentially worth $24 million to Stugotz? I know Stugotz would miss the platform, but he's not turning down that kind of money, and I don't want to sell him short. He's pretty plugged in, and he'll make some more money elsewhere.
Oh, he will find a different job, but I think he loves this that way. I think it wouldn't be quite as easy as you guys think it is.
I'm not certain I'd find a different job. I mean, you can't make $35 million work for the rest of your life. I mean, you're doing something
I don't
wrong.
think he takes the money. Is that
Really?
weird? Yeah.
I'm not sure he does either.
No, I'm sitting here. Listen, I love money. Dan is right. I love money. Most people love money. But I'm thinking about this. Like, I'm really torn on it because I do love this.
But you specifically, it doesn't seem like you could ever have enough money. So I don't know that money would be enough money for you because you always want more.
Well, but that's
my wife.
But but wait a minute. That's you too. It's also your wife. But that is part of the problem in this equation or this hypothetical as I pose it because he can never have enough mic time. He wants to be on Monday Night Football. Whatever Stugotz has, no matter where he climbs, he wants to climb higher and he wants to do more. And then he complains like he did a couple of weeks ago about doing too much television that day.
So there's no chance that Stugotz could pull like a wrestling move and just appear somewhere as a mask.
Yeah, well, that's how it would happen. No, that is how it would happen. He would appear in Albuquerque doing middays wearing a mask.
Like loser left town, but he's back in town with
wearing
a mask on.
But it'd be bejeweled because he's got so much money.
It'd be like a $35 million thing, like with diamonds, and everyone would know exactly who he was.
But can I do that? Like, if I do that, does someone take the money out of my account?
Well, there would be a scandal if someone pulled your mask off, unless they pulled the mask off and underneath you had been prudent enough to put another mask.
He's such a bad negotiator that I've got him spending all the money that he's earned in this suitcase on facial reconstruction just to become someone else and not say that it was a bad investment.
On a show that's less fun.
Yeah,
yes.
On botched facial reconstruction, like somebody's going to put, concrete or fix a flat in his face, one of these warehouse doctors that we have in Miami.
And all of a sudden, I have a different face, I have no money, and I'm doing a show with Tony Baselli in Jacksonville.
Right, that's right. Yeah. That's how it would, well, and there'd be like all that lottery winner, when you're the lottery winner that isn't prepared to have cash, so many of them blow it and go bankrupt. There'd be a lot of that on the front end. He'd be riding to that job on a yacht with T-Pain.
I'm so torn here, man. Everything you guys are saying is true.
It is. It's not as easy as, I mean, everybody's listening to this and like, are you kidding me? Are you guys joking? $24 million? Are you guys joking? We're not joking. You just heard the voice of Allison, and it got me thinking about something else. I think Allison is bat bleep insane. Is she the weirdest one we've got here? Because when I was telling her that I think she's the weirdest one we've got here, she was indignant. You think I'm weirder than the people in that room? So what would be the weird rankings around here?
Man, I mean, Allison's certainly in that conversation. She's neurotic. I mean, it's just, she's crazy.
Are the weird rankings around here gold, silver, and bronze? Is it a fight between Guillermo, Roy, and Allison?
I think Guillermo's probably
probably
the strangest.
Roy, you don't think you're weird?
No. I'm the most normal person here.
Roy, you like
Roy.
I like hockey. Mike just said I like hockey. That makes absolutely a lot of sense. Actually.
Roy, that's not even high on the list of your weird.
Like 14. Yeah.
The weird, one of the weird things about you is, how about those 7 straight years you spent seething without ever resting? How about the 7 straight years where you were seething when you were asleep and when you were awake? What about that?
I have no response to that, actually.
Wait a minute, those 7 years ended? Because you're talking about them like
it's gotten better.
I've seen a smile.
He's thawed some. He's thawed, look, everyone back there is like, wait, he's gotten better?
And it actually has been 32 years of seeding, actually.
Right, okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah. But it's gotten slightly better over the years. I would say that this show has made Roy less weird and softened him. But he's still unbelievably weird. So, what are the rankings? Who would win the gold medal? Can I get a vote here? I want to go around the room. Allison, who would you vote for? Gold medal on weird. Who would you vote for?
Can you define weird?
No.
Why?
That's why you're weird, right
That's
there.
something that a weird person would say.
That's something.
Yep.
No,
That's
this is
something
why
that
the whole conversation started, because you took 5 trips to Bloomingdale's to buy bathrobes.
That was an exaggeration. It was other stores I went to. It wasn't just there.
Regardless, that is one of the things that makes you weird, that you can't just have an opinion other than you hate Stugotz. That's your strongest opinion.
Yes.
And then you feel bad about it every time you utter it.
I feel like we're hurting her feelings. Allison, you can be weird and still be the person that we all love. You're loving, you're
no,
caring.
wait a minute. Whoa. We love you.
Yes.
Love you. Allison's better at her job than anyone around here.
Yep.
And we love having her around, and she makes everything around here better. That's not the point, but she's bat bleep crazy.
Insane.
So mean.
It's also true, Allison.
Okay, my vote is Billy. He gets the gold medal.
Okay.
All right.
Guillermo, I'm not surprised by that.
And by the way, you're at silver.
Really? I'm silver.
Oh, I think you're in consideration for the medal stand.
Oh, wait.
Really?
We can't include Dane and Stugotz in this.
No, that's fine. I'm happy to be included. If I'm silver, that's a surprise. That I'm surprised by that. Chris, and I'd like some follow-ups. I got some follow-ups on why you think I'm weird. I want some examples. But Chris, who gets your gold medal vote?
For her neurosis, Allison.
Wow.
Guillermo, who do you vote for?
Wait a minute. Why am I the weird one? I'd like 10 examples of why I'm weird.
I mean, they're all tiny sausages in a baby food can that are right under your desk.
Yep.
You can find all 10 of them there.
That's preparation, guys. All right? Everybody makes fun of everything under my desk. Today, Allison needed socks. She got socks from under my desk. Is it weird to have spare socks laying around in a bag?
It is.
No. No. Is it weird to have held these socks for months that we were going to use as sock puppets on Fusion? No, that's not weird. Just prepared.
Put it on the poll. Is it weird to have socks under your desk? Spare set of socks under your desk.
You prepared for.
Don't come to me if you guys need socks. That's all I'm saying.
Who's your vote for? Quit deflecting.
He's prepared if we get nuked.
Who do you vote for?
I mean, Allison's kind of weird.
Okay.
I can't vote for myself, right?
you can if you want. Yes, you can. That'd be great.
Well, no, I just said I wasn't weird, so I can't do that.
All right, because consistency is so important. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Roy, who would you vote for?
Guillermo.
Mike, where does your vote go?
Allison.
Okay, so we're paring this down here, it feels like.
Yes.
Stugotz, who would you vote for?
I'd go By the slightest of margins, I'd go Guillermo.
But we're the only ones that could take being called weird is the thing. Like, let's be real. Going to these music festivals is not normal. Okay? In RVs. That's not a normal thing to do.
It's not?
No, that's not
totally normal.
No.
Totally normal.
Not at that age, it's not normal.
Whoa!
Well, no, going to WrestleMania the way that he is this week.
WrestleMania.
The way
For WrestleMania.
the going to WrestleMania does that. Put that on the poll, Guillermo, at Le Batard Show. Is going to WrestleMania. And how old are you now, Mike?
31.
At 31 years old, weird.
Yeah.
Yes or no? Is going to WrestleMania annually and at 31 years old, weird.
Yeah, boys rage. Boys rage. Although we're taking wives this year. It's kind of lame.
Well, that's weird.
What?
Yeah. It's in Orlando.
Weird.
Also, my dad's coming.
You're listening to Love Advice with Leanne. Caller, you're on the air.
Hi, Leanne. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Why, in your professional opinion, do you never take my calls off the air?
Is this Carl?
Yep, it's Carl. I mean, we had a few dates. Everything was great. I thought,
Well, you know, when you switch to Geico, you could save a lot of money on car insurance.
Okay, awesome.
You should call them.
I will.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Dan Le Batard.
You introduced me to a great masseuse. Jeff Finney is his name. Now, there was a time where Jeff Finney was giving me massage on a weekly basis. He's rough. Like, he stretches you out, and it's really, really rough.
Stugotz.
And I sent him a text, or I thought I sent him a text, saying, hey, 9 o'clock tonight, I'm ready for you to work on me. I sent it to Jeff DeForest.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on the ticket.
I've been saying for about 6 weeks now that the Miami Heat are better than the teams they're chasing. That's been so. Is it still so? Because they've now caught and passed the teams that I was talking about, which are Chicago and Detroit. The Pacers, I think, push, and I don't think they're as good as the Bucks.
Yeah, the Bucks have been playing really well, which is surprising considering that Parker went down. Yeah, I think that's so. I think the way you said it is the exact way I think most Heat fans would say it. They're better than the Bulls, better than the Pistons, slightly better to a push than the Pacers, not as good as the Bucks.
What was that you just said?
They might be slightly better than the Pacers. Slightly. You called it a push. I might give them a slight nod, slight nod against the Pacers.
I'm going to pay attention to every single word that you said in that question that you threw out there, and right now they are not better because they don't have Dion Waiters, and they are not the same team without Dion Waiters.
They're not better than the Pacers. I do think that with Dion Waiters, they are better than the Pacers. I don't think they're better than the Bucks, with or without Dion Waiters.
The Bucks, I mean, it's been after Middleton. They've been a different team. They're better than the Hawks. The Hawks are playing pretty terribly.
Do you think they're better than the Hawks?
Yeah, especially now. Millsap's dealing with an injury, but the Hawks have been playing bad. The Hawks are the 5 seed. They're only 2 games up on the Miami Heat.
Yeah, they've been brutal.
And they barely beat Phoenix yesterday.
They've lost. They lost to the Nets this weekend at home and weren't even in the game.
They're only a 1-point favorite tonight at Philly. The Hawks may find themselves in that whole traffic jam at the bottom.
The hell's the matter with them, though? Is it just Millsap being not right?
They just haven't been playing well since when the Heat started playing well. That's sort of like when the Hawks started not playing well, and recently here it's really gone into a tailspin.
Yeah, they've lost 7 of 8.
Texter writes in, Dan is weird because he loves Miami on a national stage, but hates interacting with Miami fans or fans in general, despite being famous for doing relatively nothing. I feel Stu would give me a warm hello on the street, and Dan would waddle away as fast as possible. Yes, you've got that right.
Yep.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the waddle part. It'd be a full sprint.
As much as I can sprint. It'd be a lot like a sprint. Let me do this another way. Who's the most normal around here? Is it Chris Cody?
Yeah, Chris Cody.
Man, I don't know.
Really?
Oh, okay, well, maybe we're not.
Boring?
No one here is normal.
Chris is the most boring.
But Chris is
most normal.
I'm certainly in that conversation.
I don't know how normal you are either.
Well, no one said I'm weird. I mean, no one. Not a single person said I was weird.
Does it need to be articulated?
You're weird, Stugotz. Put that on the poll, Guillermo, at Le Batard Show. Is Stugotz weird? And also, is Dan weird? I can't believe Allison put me. Allison, come back over here to the microphone and explain to me why it is that I got a silver medal. How the hell did I get a silver medal on weird?
I was just being defensive. I was grasping at things. I don't know, reaching maybe. I'm sorry.
If you're going to call me weird, I'm going to call you weird. That's what you did.
No, give me some of the things on your list of weird. Let's share with the audience. Let's expose this to the audience. In what ways am I weird?
You sleep on a futon outside? That's kind of weird.
Well, I used to. That was a long time ago.
Don't look at him.
You could lie down in a room anywhere at any given moment and just meditate. That's odd.
Yeah, I can do that at any point. You guys think that's weird that I could just lay down?
No, I do not.
You're normal. Not weird at all. In fact, I started doing it. I found it so normal.
Trendsetter.
Okay, I might not be getting honest answers here. I want honest answers for why it is that I'm weird. All right, a no judgment zone, total freedom for everybody involved.
It's a trap. It's a trap. It's a trap. Total trap.
There will be no ramifications to anyone. I promise. I am on record. No ramifications. Let's get out there with all my weird.
You drink smoothies out of a Tupperware bowl.
Totally normal.
That's weird. That's weird. You don't drink them out of a cup. You drink them out of a bowl.
I mean, I drink them out of whatever's brought to me, yes. I don't take it from the Tupperware bowl and then throw it into a cup, no. So thereby leaving 2 dishes dirty in a area that doesn't have any sinks to clean dishes in. But yes, okay. But I'd like more. Do I sound offensive?
Not at all, Dan. Are you kidding me? No, not at all.
You're taking this.
Which part of honest answers are you guys not getting? I think the audience would like to know how I'm weird. I think you guys are denying the audience something that the audience wants right now. The audience would like to know, for a transparent show, how it is that I'm a weirdo, and you guys are getting in the way of good content that I know the audience wants. I know this. The audience would love to know your guys' stories on how I'm weird.
How do you think you're weird? Let's do it that way.
Yeah.
You just throw stuff out.
Oh, the social awkwardness is good.
Yeah. You know what?
You guys are ruining this. You guys are ruining this. You guys are not making this good for the audience. You're making me mad by trying to please me.
There's nothing really weird about the way you are in social settings. I'm being serious. There's nothing weird about it.
Are you out of your mind? For years, my role on the show was sit in the way so normal people couldn't get to Dan at watch parties.
You were great at that.
You were so good at that job.
Yep.
That's still your job, though. You know that, right?
I got a whole team of people. They're like a SWAT team. Let me tell you something. This was funny because my brother loves doing it. This actually happened the other day. You guys are going to love this story. Because this is so my brother. Because my brother gives exactly 0 bleeps. We were at a documentary. You guys are going to love this story. We're at a documentary for a Cuban baseball film. And we're waiting to get into the theater. And in that place, like these settings are going to be bad for me. You know, a sports movie or a sports arena, bad for some of my discomforts about making small talk and just empty conversation. And we all get herded into a ballroom that's waiting for the doors to open on the theater. So everyone is shoulder to shoulder. And I don't know, it's 300 people real tight. And my brother has been trained over the years just to notice when it is that I'm uncomfortable. So anytime anyone was coming over and lingering with, hey, my friend is the athletic director at Boise Junior College, my brother would go 3 feet away and yell, Dan, I need you over here, Dan. But he kept doing it like 15 times. There was an emergency 3 feet away from where it is that I was, where my brother is yelling, Dan, look out. I need you over here. Mom needs you. And he's doing, and then I get over there and then I'm just standing there.
It's a good wingman.
But we were never actually getting out of anything. We were just moving.
Just moving.
Right? We were just moving.
Shuffling.
2 and 3 feet at a time. Dan! Like, it was just an urgency, and not realizing that he was bringing yet more attention to me because there was an emergency every 10 seconds. An emergency that they had to think that my brother had some sort of Tourette's or something.
But he's been trained to notice when you're uncomfortable. I mean, it's fairly obvious. What's the tell? It's usually sweating.
No, I mean, it's just the shaking of hands and lingering empty conversation that's not...
Yes. We've all been trained in that regard, a little bit, right? That's a good job by your brother, though, man.
Pursing of lips, perhaps. Maybe the patting of a hand on a thigh several times. The gnawing on a toothpick. The breathing of air.
That's definitely something that's weird about me. I cannot dispute that these settings, I am not a glad handler. I marvel at Stugotz's ability to just slap someone on the back and talk empty gibberish for as long as you like.
I enjoy talking to the people, man.
No,
I'm a people person.
Yeah, I know that this makes me a jerk. What I find a little bit amazing is the idea that that's genuinely and transparently how I am, ugly though it may be. People prefer Stugotz just lying nonstop to your face. It's total fraud because it's not actually that you enjoy it. It's just that you're good at it.
I'm very good at it. Yes.
It's sales. It's not actually, like if I told you in those moments, hey, Stugotz, is this where you want to be, or can I move you over here someplace else where you don't have to be doing that? Your choice would be to just move over someplace else and not be talking to the guy about Andre Drummond's free throw shooting.
That's fair, yes. But I stay there, and I have the conversation, and I take in maybe 2% of what it is the person's saying, and I give him a slap on the back, and I move on to the next guy.
I think part of him likes it because he likes being praised and adored, and that's what's happening. Because, like, you're only going to interact with these people ever, like, maybe a minute. So, like, he's giving them the minute that they want, and he likes it because he's getting all this positive feedback.
No, but see, Guillermo, that's where you have it wrong. No, see, I would not have an issue with any of these things if they were ever a minute. What ends up happening, inevitably, is that I cannot be anything other than nice and awkward, and that's an invitation to spend 40 minutes with me. Like, it's not because I have any objection to taking all the pictures anybody wants or saying hello and talking about the show for a couple of minutes. It's because the nicer that I am, the more I get stuck in these conversations. Hey, what's your opinion about the Dolphins' offensive scheme? And now I don't want to be in that. Like, that's not someplace. That's my only objection to it. It's that it will invariably take a step in that direction. And like, cry me a river. Don't be on television and radio if you don't want that to happen. I'm just telling you that's why I'm bad at it. I'm not whimpering about it as if it's any great suffering, but that's why I'm bad at it.
So we should make a rule. If you're going to go up to talk to Dan, you have 90 seconds.
Be interesting.
After 90 seconds,
that's right.
Get the hell out of his face.
Be interesting. I'd be happy to talk about. Here's the thing. The best conversations I have like that are about people who really like the show and like its layers. Not like the show because, hey, it's something that's on television and I love the Dolphins, but that like the show for the reasons that we do the show. I love those conversations, but I never have those conversations. That's not what's happening to me in the ballroom outside the Cuban Film. I will have that conversation with as many people as want to have it for as long as they want to have it because I care deeply about this thing that we do. And the people who get it, I really like. But that's not what I get. I get, hey, man, why didn't you bring Poppy? Yeah, because it's not WrestleMania. And I don't make trips to WrestleMania with my dad.
To be fair, though, you typically do bring Poppy, so it is it's a legit question.
Yeah. I'd bring Poppy everywhere if I were you. Oh, yeah. That's the ultimate shield.
Have him fall on that
sword. He does a great job of it. He does a great...
Well, and he loves it.
All right, but explain to me what I'm supposed to do. Tell me what I'm supposed to do with this situation last night. Small restaurant, sitting at a table with my brother and my mother.
Yep.
And you can see it and hear it. Oh, the people at the next table, they are now Googling me. And now what they're doing is they're just taking pictures of me eating dinner. and it's just us in the restaurant, and now these people have pictures of me eating dinner.
Right.
And then when I'm leaving, it's the whole thing. What am I supposed to do? What is the right play there? And look, this is, again, I know how this sounds. I'm just asking you guys genuinely, what am I supposed to do? Am I ever allowed to have to go to the bathroom? You know what I mean? Or like have to get somewhere else? This does sound like whimpering. This does sound bad.
You mean you can't get from point A to point B without
totally
someone
normal.
bothering you? Is that what you're saying?
Totally normal
Not
sounding,
weird.
Dan. Not weird. Cool.
Yeah, I think it's normal to want to get from point A to point B uninterrupted. I don't think there's anything
I've
strange
told you
about
guys
this.
before, I envy Mike Wilbon. He is so good at this. Mike Wilbon has to be the king of arriving at a urinal in a stadium, just barely making it because he has stopped to shake every hand and have every conversation about what do you think about Northwestern basketball.
Right. He's good at it, huh? He's like me in that regard. So they were taking pictures. They didn't think you noticed that they were taking pictures? Because I would just embrace it. Turn around, smile, take a couple pictures with the table, buy him a drink, have the conversation, be done with it. It could all be done within like 3 to 5 minutes.
Right, if you do it once.
Yeah.
But now make it 1,000 times. Yeah, that's how you'd handle it once.
Right.
Next time that happens, take 2 drinking straws and put them in your mouth as if you're like a walrus and make a "Arr!" sound. Disarm the whole situation.
And you'll be on TMZ.
This is a bad move by the restaurant. Like, they should know they have a big-time celebrity in their dining, and they should take away everyone's phones when they come in so they don't disturb you.
I know what you want. You want me to call this restaurant and yell at the manager.
Probably in trouble on the phone.
I will be doing that.
I deserve what I'm getting right now. I don't even blame you guys for calling the wambulance. I'm just asking you what you're supposed to do, and now I've got my answer. So, okay, good advice. Straws in my nose, throw mashed potatoes. Excellent brainstorming.
Or ask the owner to have a basket where they have a Jeter-type basket where they have to check their cell phones in at the...
They really should put you in, like, private rooms so that the commoners can't get to you.
I mean, typically you do get the private room. What is this place? They think they are.
This was a place without private rooms, and I will never eat there again.
What were you
Yeah,
doing?
you shouldn't. I don't even know why you lowered your brand.
Yeah.
Oh. What is the poll question that we can ask related to this, Guillermo, that would point out how awful I sound and how condescending all of this is? Leave me alone, riffraff. Riffraff. Leave it. But is that too much to ask? Don't Google me and take pictures while I'm taking dinner when I'm having dinner with my family. Is that really too much to ask?
Poll question: should Dan shove 2 straws up his nose the next time someone tries to take his picture?
No, that's not a way to ask.
Man, you just got to embrace it. It's easier. It goes away faster. I was in Park City, Utah over the summer on vacation, and a group of people came up to me and my wife. We're on Main Street outside having dinner, and I did shots with them. They sat at the table with me, and 15 minutes later, it was over.
Stugotz, you say you got to embrace it. It'll go away faster. I'm telling you, these people will be living with me the way that I handle these situations, because I go to deep conversations. I can't do small talk.
It sounds like you just need to drink.
Yeah.